Hey fellas, Onus here, and welcome back to With a Y, and today I want to talk about one of my favorite artists, JID, or J-I-D. Recently on the Twitter timeline, he's been undergoing something of a beating, and I want to make it clear how big of a fan I am of his work. I think every year since like 2018 that he's dropped a solo project, all of those albums have been in like my top 5 most listened of that year. Maybe with the exception of God Does Like Ugly, but even still, it's a great album. The thing is, somebody popped alt a few days ago, February 8th, and just said, "This is how JID raps." And this is someone who has been on a JID slander wave for a very long time, as they were wont to prove with some of their subsequent quote tweets of things they'd said in the past. This how JID raps. And that thumbnail, 2017 Logan Paul, Jake Paul diss track era, like just sent chills down my spine before I unmuted the audio, and I was like, I already know what it's gonna sound like, but with this context in my brain, I fear that I may not have a frontal lobe by the time this clip is over. You don't fuck with the Logan!
Hold up, I'ma throw it. Looking at your face, you don't know what I mean.
Leave him alone! He's only 35! He's just a fucking kid! This shit got so far that Spectre, the dude who makes all the remixes that end up in all sorts of places, including official performances, made a mix of The Fall of Jake Paul over Dance Now.
Looking at your face, you don't know what it means to glow up. Trying to dance and act the class is doing nothing. Now you tried to rap, come on.
And it got so far that JID saw this shit. Damn, Spectre, that's fucked up. Is Dance Now not fire? No, I love it. I even did it with just my voice. You are going to hell! And Lad Psycho, the guy who made the original post, was seeing this and realizing, fuck, I may have been too effective in my slander. Wow, JID saw my tweet. Hashtag fairs. In full respect, JID was ready to fucking go to town on this guy. You will be hearing from my lawyers. Get him, JID! Fucking get him! But only him. No artist should ever sue me for saying things on the internet. I'm just a special little guy who deserves special treatment and should be shielded from all consequences of everything I ever do. A lot of the slander you've seen get thrown JID's way is more about like how long he's been active. Like some people say like he's next up or he's on his way to becoming like the rap's next big star, when he's like closer in age to a J. Cole, a Drake, or Kendrick than any like new generation artist coming on the scene for the first time is. And he's been actively known about for close to a decade now, and immediately people were like, potentially the most accurate slanderer of all time. I've been laughing at this all day. Put it in 1.25 speed and it's like dead on. I can't play any of JID's music here for a frame of reference, and it's something I recommend you listen to on your own time because the music's just good, but we're gonna get into the discussion of the nature of slander and what it truly means. 1.25, bro. You don't fuck with the Logan!
Hold up, I'ma throw it. Looking at your face, you don't know what it means to glow up. Trying to dance and act the class is doing nothing. Now you tried to rap, come on.
Now, I have some nuance about the actual truth behind this slander, but we need to come back to the original definition of slander. Set aside how we use it these days. If something is truly slander or libel, it means that it is inherently defamatory. It's not telling the truth about someone. So if you disagree with the takes on offer here, then you simply have to psyop yourself into thinking of it as the traditional dictionary definition of slander, and not how we've come to use it these days, where the truth of what's being said is more of a secondary concern, whereas it being effective shit talking is the main deal. Basically, this was the emotion a lot of people were feeling when they're slandering your goat, but they're low-key right. Being an MHA fan came with a lot of this throughout my like teen years going into my early 20s. It has been like the turnaround of the century, and now that MHA fans are actually like winning fandom beefs on Twitter randomly. I think the type of slander that might truly hurt the most though is like when you're going and expecting to like just hear something that you're like, this guy's crazy, man, and then you scroll on your feed to see something like worse, like an atrocity like happening on the other side of the world, and suddenly the slander is no longer like in your brain at all. But not the case here. I unmuted this thinking with some bullshit take, and it's low-key right. One of the most appropriate uses of the wilted flower emoji I've ever seen. A little more looking through the replies of people not even attempting to cope with what they're going through. Dude, I just looked it up. That's true. That's like 100%. Everything he said was true. Like, you can't even like attach a caption that makes it seem like you're pissing and shitting and crying and like self-aware trying to cope. It's just like, damn, they got us, man. Oh well. Fuck, it actually matches his flow so well with like an appropriate speed gif attached. It's not even the one where Speed's like, please continue. I'm interested in the words that you're saying and want to hear more. It's the reaction of a man who's heard enough and is like, I don't need the point explained to me. I'm already deep in this. Just leave me to my thoughts and my liquor. This was the first person to bring this up. No, but this is literally the exact flow of Kendrick on Goosebumps.
Oh my dear, spare your feelings. I'm reliving moments, feeling more residual. Out of building, burn the building, take your bitch, rebuild the building just to fuck some more.
Like, even compared to the white guys on that Logan Paul diss track to his brother where he like says, yeah, I fucked your ex-girlfriend. Kendrick and Jid's versions of this flow are like still have more technically going on, and I think it's fair to say that both of those artists have more to say and like going on in any of their work than like Logan Paul has had in anything he's ever made, and I'm willing to bet the same is true for those Why Don't We kids who are the white boys trading off rapping. But the reason this is at all a comparison you can make is because Goosebumps was a ridiculously popular song, like 1 billion views on the YouTube video, over 1 billion on Spotify. I'm pretty sure it's certified fucking diamond. That came out like just before all of this shit happened. It came out just before Logan and Jake Paul had their beef. So it's just very likely to me that they heard this flow on like a really popular song they heard recently, or like, we're making fucking content for kids, man. Let's just repurpose this shit. You think the 8-year-olds buying the original rendition of Maverick merch are gonna like get on us for biting like Kendrick Lamar? Are you who the fuck do you think this is? And close to a decade later, it's come full circle into being used to slander artists who were making this shit unironically and for the sake of it around the same time that they first like bit the flow. I feel like that caveat is worth including, but we do unfortunately have to get back to the pain of it all. Otherwise, we really won't appreciate how good this slander was. We might never see something like this again. I was prowling Twitter search for just the term Jid slander, and I saw this one guy saying, this is the type of slander Hamza envisioned. His fight to bring Jid down in the public eye has finally paid off. And then you have Lad Psycho, the guy who originally was like posting this shit, in the replies showing his bona fides of just exactly how in the trenches he's been on this particular crusade. Tears, I've been hating Jid since 2021. I believe that you were concocting this plan in 2021, but this is a tweet from 2022. Your receipts are off, big dog. This is how I imagine Slow Tie, Zell, Peggy, and JID would go on an Alchemist beat.
Fucking bear I'm gonna get my April out and do burnouts on your front lawn, and then I'm gonna chuck mud bombs at your nan's windows, you silly bastard.
Oh god, that stung. That stung. You got like 4 different dudes in there who I'm a fan of. That is unethical as shit. Another one of those, I hate when something I like gets slandered this well. You never like to see it happen to like one of your own, right? Not that Jid is one of my own, but I'm gonna be honest, the disrespect around like how they talk about Jid has been going crazy in these last few months. Someone tell Jid that it was just a prank, bro. I feel so sorry for him. And this was the clip in question.
Oh my god, I knew that was you, bro. Kendrick Lamar, bro. Kendrick, bro. You and Kendrick just won a Grammy.
How was doing, bro?
You went Kendrick? Oh, okay. Play with somebody else there.
This was last week, man. They were doing this shit to him last week. Jid doesn't deserve that. He's a great fucking artist. He has a lot to say that's worth hearing. Why are you doing this to him? I think the worst part is like the outro here.
Bro, why you tell me that was Kendrick, bro?
Why'd you tell me that was Kendrick, man? Like, just hoping Jid catches the tail end of that. It's like, I'm actually not a fan of either of them. I just like being told by my friends to talk to celebrities and get pictures with them. Like, that's an objectively shitty thing to do to someone. Like, Jid's, like, giving the time of day to someone who he thinks is a fan of his work, just to get trolled by him actively. But God, it's hard not to laugh sometimes. I would feel terrible if that happened to me. Like, somebody walks up to me, it's like, hey, Ultron, big fan of your work, trying to kill everybody on planet Earth. That'd take it out of me too, man. I don't wish that on my worst enemy, much less somebody who I actively like. You had people celebrating in the streets the Jid slander I've been waiting for. I would say you don't deserve this Virgil Devil May Cry profile picture, but this tweet almost makes it more appropriate if I'm being honest. Like, if Virgil from DMC really disliked Jid, but not in a way where he wanted to kill him, he'd probably be on Twitter doing some shit like this. Bro, put it on a JID instrumental and it fit like butter on toast.
You don't fuck with the low gang!
On the bomb and throw it, looking at your face, you don't know what it means to glow. Trying to dance and act the classes, doing nothing, now you try to rap, come on, hold up, catch the flow, you can't know.
Deep breaths, get the shit out of my face, man. Literally being brought to the point of tears, man, this is fucked up. Of course, the subject of who's being slandered brings up a lot of its own conversation, but the clip that's used to slander them also starts like its like own side quest of conversations that like made me pause and think, yeah, why were they doing that? Why were all these kids YouTubers on Chief Keef type beats in the 2010s? What the fuck? And that's absolutely true, and I think it's like a product of the era. Like, Chief Keef was in his prime not too long before this first came out, so I'm willing to believe the Paul brothers were like bumping Sosa a few years prior, and when they like finally had the opportunity to make their own music, they're like, fucking, whose type beat should I type in? Shout out pattern recognition. Also, holy shit, never forget how this era of YouTube had everyone investing skill points into rapping. And I gotta be honest, I think that's stolen valor. Some of these YouTubers absolutely were. Say what you want about Rice Gum, but that dude was leveling up every diss track track he made. God Church to this day is a banger, if only because of the beat, which literally anybody could sound good on top of. Part of me really wants to do like a recap of that era of YouTube on the main channel. But why don't we? We're like an official music group. Like they were a touring band who only really appeared in Logan Paul's content for the sake of exposure. They were not like making vlogs first and foremost or clickbaiting for the sake of it. It was all in service of their more straightforward musical ambition. We cannot rewrite the ledger on that one. And last but not least, let's learn some history. Back in the day, the Low Gang is what Logan Paul would call his fan base when he was doing the daily vlogs and first crossed that 10 mil mark. And this is a real thing. Note the term Low Gang is distinct from the Low Gang Massacre, a 1992 violent historical event in Bangladesh. I don't know a whole lot about Bangladeshi history, but from what I've read about this, it was truly gruesome. Never forget things happen in the world outside of Twitter, fellas. Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks to kwytebox for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check out Nioh 3 at the first link in the description. Anyways, piss off.